Welcome, Capital Raisers. Today we have Dr. Fasanya of Dr. Breathe Easy Capital, who operates multiple businesses, syndicates multiple asset classes, does joint ventures, has 3 kids, raises capital, all while running a medical practice. That's insane. Are you guys ready to raise? Shout out to our sponsors, Invest Next, Capitalist Pro, and our friends at the Family Office Club. Get your copy of the insane video content produced at the Strategic Capital Raise Summit by going to strategiccapitalraise.com. With that, it's Capital Raiser Show, episode 308, and it starts now. Rock and roll. I got Dr. Fasanya on the Capital Raiser Show. Welcome, man. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Cool. We got introduced by Dr. Ozude, George Ozude. Shout out to him. Great dude. The Capital Raiser Show Season 4, brought to you by your friends at Family Office Club and our new sponsors at Invest Next. Really excited to be working with all those guys. It's a real pleasure. So really excited to dive in here with you, Dr. Bio. Tell me, how did you get into the real estate syndication space?
So I've always been interested in investing in general. So I've tried different things, even during my college days. I tried Forex trading, some day trading stocks with the little money that I have. And eventually, when I was in Canada, so I originally from Nigeria, went to Canada in my teenage years. My family had a little bit of money. So we started doing what is called the reassignment homes. So in Toronto, Canada. So reassignment homes, let's say you have a $500,000 home, you put $50,000 down, 10%, and you can reassign this property within the 2 years or a year that it takes to finish the construction. So the good thing is, let's say you sell it for $600K now. So you basically just tripled your money because the $100K that you make, you'll be able to, sell it for, make the $100K return on that $50K that you did. So we did that for a little bit. But of course, I went to medical school, and then when I finally finished my residency, during fellowship, at the end of my fellowship, I started the blogging business, which I kind of talk about how to save your money, how to invest your money, and things like that. So I developed some following with that. And then in 2018, I started looking into buying my own properties. So, but early 2019, I bought my first 8 units of my own with the sign-on bonus, all the money I got from starting my real job. It was very successful, very cash flowing immediately. In fact, I used the line of credit to acquire it. So I was able to pay my mortgage and the line of credit. So was able to pay it off. I cash out refinance, take out my capital out. So then friends started asking me questions like, do you want to, I want to do it with you. So then I started doing some joint venture with some other people. And I continue to also acquire personal properties too. Fast forward to now, I have about 62 units of my own. We have about 881, if I'm correct, of units under management on the syndication side with joint venture and syndication. And also I have about 5 self-storages, 1 boat storage, 3 offices. So we're and then we do oil and gas funds. So everything just kind of went scale super fast because there's lots of opportunities and a lot of people that need a place to put their money, to invest, to make their money grow. So that's it, in short, mainly from Canada, dip my leg into it a little bit as a youngling. And when I finally had money, bought some units. And in between all these, I actually also do some limited partner. During my residency, I was investing as a limited partner with some people over the years. And then I finally had confidence to buy my own early 2019.
So you started on the LP side and then got into the syndication side?
Yes.
So was that from the Physicians Network that you're a part of? Or how did you find the syndicators to begin with?
At first, in the passive income MD, I think it started doing some syndication. We do have some few physician communities that were doing syndications. I was actually doing syndications for a little bit, for a while, without knowing that was really doing it. I was mostly doing it as joint venture, right?
Mm.
But it might be like 10 people. And I'll be like, okay, I manage it. And eventually talking to my lawyers, and they're like, man, you need to just formalize this
Mhm.
properly. And then we were using Excel sheet to keep track of our money. So eventually we have a portal. So yes, I got it mostly from other physicians. And also my mentor is actually not a physician. I also got a mentor.
Who's
So
your
I was
mentor?
actually started with raising money for him as a GP.
Who was
So
that?
his name is Guarav. Is a Majestic Investment Group.
Oh,
That's his
I
name.
haven't heard of those guys.
But he just took me under his wings. I kind of became his liaison between physicians. So whenever we have a deal, I talk to my physician friends, and then we invest into the deal, and then I get to be part of the team. So that was what I was doing.
Okay, cool.
Also,
I think I follow the timeline of what you've been doing. You've been exploring multiple asset classes, which is interesting. The original JVs that you were doing, actually, you even mentioned that you have some personal properties. Is that part of your strategy going forward to continue to take down stuff just on your own?
yes, I do think so because I believe in legacy
Yes.
also. So that's like I always tell people about. I do a little bit of financial coaching too, and some of my clients will tell me about they want legacy. So for them, I don't put patient route that much. I mean, you can still do some of those, but you absolutely want to have something under your name personally that you want to give away, or you can use syndication to build money enough and ultimately buy one big hotel or one class A property or build a community that you're going to finally give to your children. So that's why I continue to acquire on the side. I also think it's important to do one on the side if you're an operator to also have your home properties because those sound like a control group to many things that you're doing. So when I
Hmm.
want to do something like in Tulsa, I'm like, I have a 33 units of my own. So it's big enough. And then I'm like, let me try to split the meter and see what happens if I add the water back to the tenants. And then when I saw nobody moved away, I'm like, oh, okay, it looks like it's easily absorbed. So, and then you move it, you try that on the syndication side. So to me, I think it serves multiple purpose. One is for just to have something like a control group and also to have it for legacy ultimately. And I also need a lot of tax deduction as a physician. So
Okay,
uh,
so you're a successful blogger. Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit. You mentioned the word legacy before the show. You mentioned that you have 3 kids.
yes,
I do some wealth consciousness training occasionally. And what I'm seeing, and I actually went to the Phoenix Children's Hospital and they were telling me about their endowments and how they, instead of just having people dump money into something and it being spent, they put it into a fund that then kicks off a cash flow. And that endowment continues to do that forever. So that, like, after people die, it's still giving money to the charity or whatnot. From a legacy perspective, I think it's important. Hopefully, this is a cool topic to dive down that you're comfortable talking about. It sounds like you will be. What I see a lot of people doing, even successful business owners, is they don't share their finances with their kids. So when you're talking about legacy and leaving properties to the next generation, what are you doing? I'm very curious about what are you planning to do? I'm not sure the ages of your kids, but when they're old enough, like how are you going to train them so that they don't lose the property, so that they keep them and so that they continue training the future generations how to continually build and grow this portfolio that you're leaving for them?
yeah. I mean, that's a very good question. We all know, the statistics that by 3 generations, all the wealth is gone in general. So for me, my kids are 8 years old, 5 and 3. Okay. So right now, also part of it is cultural. I'm a Nigerian. As a Nigerian, we have a little bit more strict upbringing for children. So, for example, for career, they only have few options. That's it. So, you either be an engineer, a lawyer, a physician, and then things are more structured that way. So right now, every Sunday, unless sometimes I'm off, I do actually give out a book to read. The last book I think was how to go from 10,000 to 1 million or $100 to 1 million. Forgot the name. It's like that book was for kids. And then every Sunday we go over, I've read it during the week. We go over one chapter about it. And then she'll talk about, oh, why it's important for you to have money is because you get to help other people, or, it helps you to secure your family. So she's getting the idea. She's also already employed by the company at this point. She helps at the office. She helps fly the drone. When we go to check on storage, she'll be the one to fly the drone. I mean, it's fun, but at the same time, we went together. I make her dig the whole place to put in the sign with shovels. Give her the shovel. So you cannot guarantee these things, but I just to believe that with some series of education and letting her know that it requires hard work and let her work for some of these things, go with you she comes to some of our in-person meetings that I host in town. Sometimes she'll come in and she started to ask some questions. Last question she asked me that was surprising to me was like, Dad, like, I don't understand why do people listen to you? why do you follow
Hilarious.
you? And then I have to just explain to her about, you have to give value and you have to provide something that people want. So she started to pick her interest. Even the 5-year-old also now see the sister does it. And now she sometimes be like, I want to go with you. So I believe that many people will be able to maintain it by enough education, by just letting them understand there's more to it than just books, just reading books, go to school and come back. Yes, they can still be a doctor, just like I am, but they will need to learn some business sense with it and also understand the real wealth comes from the real American dream comes from owning your own business.
What percentage of doctors do you think actually have some business sense?
I'll probably say low. I'm just coming up with a random number, maybe 10%, very low.
Just curious about that.
Yeah. I remember when I started blogging, and I was part of it before. I kind of have an idea. I was reading a lot of books, mostly, but some people, you can still know maybe 50, like a lot of 50% of my friends don't even understand the difference between 401k or 403b. They don't understand 1257. How do you open your own account? Can you, like, I can buy my own stocks on Vanguard? Those are the kind of things that, like, they just contribute to the company 401k, and that's it. They think that's good.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, so they're not really like thinking. But then I noticed though that they see me doing it and see other people do it. It's improving. People are asking more questions, noticing that physicians, I'm not going to toot our horn, but they're like high intelligence, at least average or high. So that means you could reinvent yourself. You could learn other things. If you're good enough for medicine, you can be good enough for other career. But it's just difficult for us to realize that. And when we started doing it and become successful, people like, oh yeah, wow, you can be a speaker too. You can be an author. Wow, you can start do real estate. I think also kids learn by just looking and watching. If they see what you're doing and notice that you're putting in the work, maybe not all of them will do it. I was just at least hoping for one. So to keep on the legacy.
Okay, cool. So what brought you from Canada or tell us about the journey? How did you end up in Arkansas specifically?
I did my residency in New Jersey, Summit, New Jersey, and I did my fellowship in Allegheny General in Pittsburgh. Because I'm from Canada, I have to serve in an underserved area. I have to work in an underserved area for 3 years to be able to apply for green card. That's the terms of my visa. Okay. So one of the underserved area, I had to pick between Grand Island, Nebraska, or Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I remember my wife, we went to interview there, and she can't find any Walmarts in the whole town of Grand Island. I think she couldn't even find a Target. She's like, that's it. It's like, cross it off the list. We came here, she found those 2 stores. She's like, we're good to go. And also they pay more, like underserved area. They give you a lot more. They give you stipend. They give sign-on bonuses. It's a very nice, cozy community. And I've grown to love it now.
Awesome.
I like to still travel to Tampa once in a while, but my base is here and I like it.
Okay, cool. You mentioned some self-storage, 881 units or approximate under management. So when I had Dr. Ozudi on, he was talking about like, I'm in build to rent, I'm in oil and gas, I'm in all these different asset classes. I actually respect that. Tell me about what's your investment philosophy in going into owning your own properties and syndicating and self storage and some of the other things that you're doing.
Yes, I believe in diversification. And the way I see it is when you're first getting started, you need to diversify your portfolio significantly. So that's what we go for. And we're not exactly tied in with a particular asset class, at least not in the beginning. If we find out that it solves a problem for our investors or solve a problem for us also, then we do it. Like, for example, the oil and gas, it came about because even though we're doing the real estate, most of the tax benefits, you can only get it because you're a real estate professional. And my wife, she stays at home, so she's a real estate professional. And I'm able to deduct like $1.6 million last year, for example. It's a
Wow.
good amount of money. So it's good. But many of our investors, as they have to hold the depreciation for future, because and also can only use it against another passive real estate income. Then they're like, man, what can I do for W-2 income? What, like, I'm getting killed here. So then we look into all the assets that could do that, and then we find oil and gas. So it doesn't matter what income. I was able to depreciate like 90%. I put 100K into it. First time I invested in it. And then I got my K1 says negative 90,000. I was like, ooh. So just alone by that, I already saved like $30,000 or $35,000 because I'm on a high tax bracket between all my businesses and my physician job. So that's how we do it. And self-storage is people, be like, man, I love this development deal that you gave to us, but it took us a year or two to finally make some money. Is there any deal that just give me good cash on cash, like 8% or something good? You were like, oh, well, self-storage, we do that. Well, don't expect a lot of appreciation, but you're going to definitely get a good cash flow. They're like, yeah, let's try that. So that's how they all come about. Some people will be like, oh, well, I'm hearing about the silver tsunami, about all the baby boomers getting older and they need a place to live. And then we're like, okay, let's do a luxury senior living. So we have two of those. And one of them just got completed in June. And the other one should be completed by the end of the year. So, and those are in Missouri, O'Fallon and Wentfield. So yeah, so that's how most of the asset class comes about. But if I'm going to say which one are we best at, it's going to be self-storage and multifamily value add.
Okay, great. So I'm also curious about the future. What asset classes are you looking to do? Are you going to stay in primarily in self storage and value add and do a little diversification?
Yeah.
What are the things that the asset classes that you're most interested like 5 years from now or into the future?
We look at the macroeconomics also. We look at what we think it's happening in the economy. Like, for example, we did a deep value add, but now we think right about between now and the next few years, you probably should avoid a deep value add. You should do light value add or even maybe new construction because of the way the macro is going, the high cost of borrowing, and the difficulty in maintaining workers. And with many of the construction that we did, the ability to get people to actually work and churn out properties as fast as we wanted it to be. So I think it has to do with the macroeconomics. That's what I focus on the most, to look at talk to some of our partners and do some feasibility studies and try to see what are the things that are going to be in demand. But if I have to just say what I personally enjoy the most is the value add, yes, because we do have a full team. We have the construction team, we have a property management in-house now too. So we're able to keep a close eye on everything in the operations. We do our own asset management. We have an underwriter. So we have everything in-house, and then we have investors. So probably going to be mostly value add. Self-storage right now, as I'm talking to you, we've seen a little bit of softness in self-storage. Most of our occupancy that used to be in the 90s, high 90s, it's dropping to between 85 and 93, 94% across the board. So that's something we're keeping a close eye on right now and reassessing when is the best time. It might also be the best time to buy when everybody is kind of moving away, but we're reassessing that at this point. So self-storage, value add with personal preference. But if I look at the market and I'm seeing that there's a decrease, right, in occupancy in self-storage, then do some value add in the meantime. So we have our core one that we love, and we'd like to do a little bit of oil and gas too every year, just for the W-2 people, for that tax benefits. But we're open though, for most part. I mean, we also syndicate business also. We bought a DME company, which we got few investors in it to buy it. We have a car audio company, and my partner has a owning company. He also has a sign company. So things like that, we also do. So for me, it's about what the returns is, what the risk is, and just know how to analyze a deal, whether it's a business, real estate, storage. It's just, you have to use the same skills in analyzing them.
Sounds good. You have a pulmonary medical practice. They refer to you in some cases as Dr. Breathe Easy. So I'm guessing that that's like your full-time business. So I'm gathering that you're not the operator of the deals, especially considering that it's such a diverse array of properties. So when you're partnering with these people, how do you set up? You have this physicians network and people that you network with and raise capital from. How do you set it up so that you participate? Do you have a fund structure, or you're a co-GP? How do you work with some of the sponsors in the different asset classes that you're doing?
It's funny you ask. I actually do operate the deals. So not all, I do raise. So I do like a hybrid. Like the last 129 units we bought in town, that is fully just us. We raise all the money. We get everything from the beginning till the end. So I do have an acquisition manager, right, which is a commercial broker in town who joined our operations. We do have a property manager. We do have underwriter, and then we do have investor relations officers. So we have a group of like 20 people that we coach, and then they kind of work in the investor relations capacity. So we do that. However, if we find a very good deal that we feel like is better than ours, if we look at it and we're involved in the beginning, yes, then we do raise. We do investor relations for that thing. Also, if my mentor is doing a deal, sometimes I'll be like, okay, you'll be able to raise $1 million or $2 million for this deal, and then we do it. So how do I structure it? I think the most important thing in general to be able to do many things is, first, you have to have people that you hired, like you delegate the task to. So you need to, not do everything by yourself. I still have to do the one-on-ones with people. That's what I mostly spend my time on. And also for every of the property, we meet like an hour every week to go over each one. So that's it for the asset management. And if anything happens in between the 1 week, I use my experience in owning all these other properties to solve the problem. My skill really, I have a mathematics background. My undergraduate was mathematics. My skill really is in analysis and be able to basically run numbers very quickly, sometimes even on my head, and also be able to solve problem solving. So I think that's very important for being an operator.
Okay, cool. In terms of increasing your exposure and getting new investors, you mentioned that you have a blog and also recently wrote a book, which is called Transformational Journey Book, or at least you're one of the authors that wrote a chapter with Dr. Azudi and a few other people. What are you doing to get more visibility and more investors into your network right now to raise more capital?
From my blogging days, I actually don't blog as much as I was after COVID, but I still get people, followers. What I end up doing is started a WhatsApp group, and we have about 220 physicians in the group. And believe it or not, that's how we raise most of our money, between them and friends of friends. So I never really find the need to go and try to find more investors, because these are solid core. I call the core investors. These are people that whenever there's a deal, they almost always will invest. But then since last year, we started doing a little bit of more social media, more of trying to get some leads. We're trying to work on LinkedIn a little bit more. So we've been getting our email list. We've been growing our email list now. But then I always like to do a one-on-one with everybody. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of limited. I focus more on long-term relationship, not so much on the volume. For me, I believe that if you have like, let's say 200 solid investors, better than just having like 10,000 email list. That's just for me. So I love that. So also depends on what your goals are. And also we have group of capital investor relations officers that can also help us. They also have their own branding, like Dr. Zude, focus on just capital raising. So I'm perfectly okay if I have a deal and it can bring all the capital. I'm okay with it. You just take the percentage of the GP and then we're fine. So for me, it just depends on what the goal is on that particular deal. Yeah, but we're working on it now. We're doing our CRM, just like everybody does. Get the lead, then we nurture them with email sequence, get a one-on-one, and then try to get an idea. Are they more likely to invest? And then we try to put them into our WhatsApp group or at least into something that we do like bi-weekly webinar. We also do a bi-weekly webinar, me and Dr. Zide, and that we bring different hosts, different guests to come and talk about different things. And usually, sometimes we get like 50 people, sign up. So, we get people, but the most important thing is that you have to follow them. You have to do one-on-ones. So it's not just about getting the leads. You have to actually talk to them and try to give value back.
For sure.
And then build that trust. Yeah, so
Awesome.
That's what we're doing now.
Love it. Okay, cool. Let's dive into the lightning round. My first question to you is, what is the best vacation you've ever taken?
I'll say with my wife, we went to Europe tour. That was when we were engaged. So it was good. It was, because we go to many countries, different, of course, there's no kids. It's not like I don't love the kids, but it was, it was a lot of fun. And then we get to see different cultures. I love Spain. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
What's your favorite book of any kind?
I'm going to say Traction.
The EOS.
Yeah, so Traction, basically, it talks about vision, traction organizer. It's probably every book giving motivation. I've read 10X, The Obsessed, The Average. I've read all the Robert Kiyosaki books, but none of them really give me a step-by-step guide on how to actually run a business. Yes, you get motivated and you get ideas, but Traction, like I bought it as an ebook at first, and then I was like, no. I bought a real copy and I was underlining, writing things down. So it's probably the most important book I've ever read.
How much of your success do you attribute to mindset?
I'd probably say at least 50%.
What's the rest?
My wife always says this, that he believes that the key to my success in everything is both mindset and grit. So it's like, well, I always say intelligence too. So basically it's like you have to have all the three combinations. So even if you're intelligent, but you can't stick true to things, you're never going to be really that successful. You might have the IQ of 200. So, and then she's like having those combination of just, I go to work, come back, underwriting right after, assessing things, and follow up things, doing asset management. It's just like, I don't just understand how you're able to do all these things. So I think, but mindset though, I think is super high because I always think I'm going to be successful. It's only a matter of time. It might just have been my upbringing because I just have that idea that I came from Nigeria. I don't fly all these seas and valleys and mountains just to come and be a mediocre person.
How long do you want to live?
I would say I'll be happy if I live up to 80. I think life expectancy in the 70s. So I just have to pass that. And I feel like I've won.
Short answer on this, best way to raise capital from your perspective?
Provide value and network.
What would you need in order to 10x your business?
I'm going to say marketing and potentially reducing my time in medicine.
What do you love best about playing soccer?
Physical activity. And also, I think it boosts your morale in a way. Like, you get to meet a group of friends, people, I look forward to seeing them, every week. And then you get to laugh about you dribbling them and things like that. It's just overall almost like going to the gym, same thing. I get the same feeling of high boost, maybe testosterone or something, happiness. Do
your spiritual philosophies have anything to do with your success in business?
I think so. yeah, I mean, we're Pentecostal. We believe that the thoughts that God has towards us is for good, not of evil. And we do believe that I'm going to be the head and not the tail. So it's like, it's going to happen.
Have you ever experienced a miracle or had a near-death experience?
I do have it will feel like a near-death experience to me. I had an accident once, 2019. I bought my Honda Odyssey at the time, literally just like 2 couple of weeks into it. Drove to Dallas and somebody hit me at the back and my car spun almost like 5 times. If I if I remember correctly, then I hit the side of the cover, like the middle demarcation between the highways, and I bounced back to the other side. And I felt like the car was burning. I think I felt the burning sound. There was an airbag on my face. I was just kind of woozy. Then EMS came. I thought the car's gonna blow up, and I couldn't move or get out. So I was just praying and hoping for the best. But they did everything except for a little bit of mild shoulder pain, and I walk out through it, and I'm fine. No fracture.
Last question brought to you by Shanna Amigo, one of our great listeners. She would like to know, what impact would you like to leave in the world?
I want to be remembered for helping others reach financial freedom. I want to also encourage people to make sure that they know that it can be done, especially like young Black kids. And that's where my focus is, mostly for mentorship. I try to go to the universities, talk to them, and because they've never really seen it happening, the American dream, and they don't believe it. And I do want them to, and that's one of the reasons why I actually just wanted to be popular, so to say, so that they can see it. They can see more Black entrepreneurs who did many careers and they're successful at least most of them. So that's one major impact I want to leave. And I will hope that my kids also do great. So I would like to, them to also do something great in life so they can be like, okay, that's Fasanya name. I remember the name. And that name always carry with it some goodness. So that's what I hope.
Phenomenal answers on the lightning round. Love that part of the show. Shout out to the Capital Raiser Nation. Thanks for tuning in. Please leave us a 5-star written review. Shout out to our sponsors, Family Office Club and Invest Next. Doctor, how does the audience get a hold of you, my friend?
So they can go on our website, Dr. Breathe, BREATHE, easy, EASY. So that's drbreatheeasy.com, or they can just type in Dr. Breathe Easy Capital. They will be able to see our webinars. They can find our YouTube videos, but there's a place for you to join our investment club, which will make you join our email list. And with that, we'll be able to get our newsletter. And if you have a deal, we'll be able to send it to you and then set up a one-on-one with you. So that's the best way. We're also very active on LinkedIn. So you can add me personally on LinkedIn. And then their way, you can also see what we've been doing. It's up to you to join us. You can just watch what we do for like a few months or even a year. And if you love it, then you can join us.
Okay, great. Any last words of wisdom for the aspiring capital raiser, syndicator, or physician as they scale into the real estate business?
Yeah, my new advice for new capital raisers, new syndicator, is to find a mentor and join a community. So that's what I would say. Different people try different ways. My partner, he tried a mastermind with the real estate guys, and that has been very phenomenal for his growth. I could not do well on the mastermind because I don't follow things like that, like going to the events. I prefer to just focus on a particular structure. So I went with the mentorship, and that also worked out for me. So you can try different methods, find the best way that you learn. And if you like just having a group, discussion with people, join the mastermind. If you enjoy one-on-one, somebody literally sit you down and be like, this is it, let's go over this. Then find a mentor. So that's my advice, really.
Awesome,
you can't do it alone.
Awesome, Dr. Fasanya. Thank you so much for coming onto the show and hanging out, man. This has been a lot of fun getting to know you, and I look forward to following your progress, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you very much for the opportunity, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
The Capital Raiser Show.